Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to welcome everyone present today and those watching the broadcast on TV. So just so you guys know, later on when you go home on the internet, you can watch yourself because this is all being videotaped and you're going to be on TV too. So I'd like to call the January 14th, 2020 regular meeting of the Board of Education to order with all board members present. And right now, the Army JROTC Color Guard from Crawford High School will now present the colors. Please stand, everybody, for the presentation of colors. EB Scripps can stand up too.
Carry colors. Forward, march, left, left. Side step, march, step. Freeze at colors.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, colors. Order, colors. Port, colors. Right, face. Forward, march, left, left, left.
Thank you very much. You may be seated. Okay, to start off the meeting, we have some students from EB Scripps that are in the front. They're going to wait a little bit until we start the program, so just be patient with us and we will get to you. But it's good that you're sitting right there because it reminds us of why we are doing the work that we are doing. Okay. I would like to have a motion to adopt today's agenda with Section I, the Superintendent's Consent Agenda, to be considered next following the adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Please vote. This is mine. Okay, that passes 5-0. That means we will continue forward with the agenda of the meeting. Today's meeting of the Board of Education is a business meeting of the Board of Education, which is conducted in public, in front of the public, but we do not engage in dialogue directly with members of the public. Public members are allowed to speak on items that are on the agenda, so if you want to speak on an item that's on the agenda, please go to the back of the auditorium and you can enter your name there and you will be called when that agenda item is called, and you will be given at that point how much time you have to speak. Also, if you want to speak on an item that is not on the agenda today, please be prepared to make those comments at the end of the meeting. Spanish interpreter is also available over here for those who need that also. Okay, so moving on to the superintendent's consent agenda. Does any board member wish to remove any items from the consent agenda?
Our student representative would like to remove items 9 and 10 for consideration at the end of the meeting.
Okay, we'll remove items 9 and 10. And the next question, are there any public speakers on any consent agenda items?
I will move the rest of the consent agenda.
Okay. Board Member Barrera has moved the agenda minus items I, 9, and 10. Is there a second? Dr. Whitehurst-Payne has seconded. Okay, please vote on the remainder of the consent agenda. And that passes 5-0. 5 green lights there. And the student member vote I forgot to ask for before I announced our vote.
Yes and yes.
Okay, voted yes. Okay, very good. Okay, now at this point, the best part of the program is we're going to have a presentation from E.B. Scripps Elementary School, No Place for Hate in the Scripps Ranch cluster. And I'd like to have, if Area Superintendent Monica Hazel is here, yes you are, to introduce the student presentation for today's meeting.
Good evening, President Evans, Superintendent Martin, and distinguished board members. I am honored to introduce the principal of Ellen Browning Scripps Elementary, Liz Sloan, and her students to present to you the powerful work that they have been engaged in to create an environment at EBS that is inclusive, safe, and where all students can thrive. This presentation is an example of the focus of our cluster work across Scripps Ranch. We are thrilled to share with you that the entire Scripps cluster has committed to become a No Place for Hate cluster. Without further ado, welcome, Mrs. Sloan.
Good evening, Superintendent Martin, Board of Education, and ladies and gentlemen. I'm Liz Sloan, the principal of E.B. Scripps Elementary School. I'm going to give a very brief introduction, and then we're going to turn it over to our students. Tonight we would like to tell you about the No Place for Hate initiative, which we adopted this year. The Anti-Defamation League's No Place for Hate is a school climate improvement initiative that provides schools with an organizing framework for combating bias, bullying, hatred, and helps foster and maintain a positive school climate. As a school participating in the No Place for Hate initiative, we strive to create an inclusive, safe, and respectful community where all students can thrive. We aim to empower students, faculty, and family members to take a stand against hate and bullying by incorporating new and existing programs under one powerful message. Schools who participate in No Place for Hate must complete 3-week-long No Place for Hate initiatives. In September, we participated in Start With Hello, which is developed by the Sandy Hook Promise. Our students are going to introduce you to Start With Hello and share some of the important lessons they've learned about tolerance and inclusion. All right.
Invite the board members to go down the auditorium so we can watch you down there.
Hi, my name is Itsuki and I'm in 3rd grade at EBS. In September, we celebrated Start With Hello Week. Monday was Hello Day. Everyone in the whole school wore name tags and we all greeted people we did not know. It is important to greet people with their name. In class, we watched and discussed a video called A Simple Hello Can Lead to a Million Things. One simple hello can make us smile on someone's face. One simple hello can turn a frown upside down. One simple hello can make a sad face go to a happy face. All the students at EBS promised to start with hello. Please turn to the person in front of you or behind you and introduce yourself and say hello. Thank you. Tuesday was No One Eats Alone Day. All the kids had to look around the lunch court and make sure no one was sitting alone. Also, we tried to sit with someone new to make a new friend. In class, all students in the school traced and cut out a copy of their hands and create a hands helping wall. The students wrote or drew ways we could reach out and help others on the hand. We included different ways to say the word hello in English and other languages. All the students at EBS promised to reach out and help. Please turn to the person next to you and tell them what you are going to do tomorrow to get to know someone better. Acts of Kindness Day. All the students and teachers tried to do a random act of kindness for someone. In class, we read a story called Kindness is Cooler, Mrs. Ruler. All the students at EBS promised to be kind. Please turn to the person on your other side and tell them how you felt when someone did something kind for you. Thank you. Friday was School Spirit Day. We all wore our EBS Penguin shirts. Students reflected on the week. We set up a jar station or bulletin board in each classroom where each student could share their notes and stories about how they reached out and helped someone else or how someone helped them. All the students at EBS promised to connect. Please talk to the person near you and tell them why it was nice to talk to them today. Thank you for learning about our Start With Hello Week. And now I would like to introduce RBL.
Hi, my name's Aubrielle and I'm in first grade. At EBS, we practice no place for hate. We care about every person. We do not hate their culture, their skin color, or their favorites. For example, pretend that this girl likes an apple and I like a banana. I wouldn't say I hate that food. I would be kind about it. We care about who they are on the inside, not the outside. We practice kindness and have no place for hate. And now here's Danielle.
All right.
Good afternoon, Board of Education. My name is Danielle Vaz, and I am a third grader at Ellen Brownie Scripps Elementary. I would like to start by telling you how my school has taught me about no place for hate using everyday activities. Honestly, it actually works. For example, before we started Sit With a New Person Day, I used to see kids sitting by themselves eating their lunch looking sad. But after that day, I see those kids playing and laughing with their new friends instead of sitting alone and feeling sad. At EBS, another way to be kind to others is that if we see a hurt or sad child, we would always try to make them laugh or make them feel better to make them feel better by making a hilarious joke to make them laugh, or trying to give the person a hug, or be willing to hear how they got hurt, even if it cost you recess. Starting with hello or a wave is the first step to a great fun friendship. You could even make a lifelong friend. At EBS, though our students come from different cultures, different countries, different religions, or just look different, everyone should get treated the same, with love, kindness, and respect. At third grade, we'd act as reading buddies to younger students in order to support their reading. Some of us are paired with younger students that might need a little more support than others, but that doesn't mean we can't be friends with them. Let me give you an example. My reading buddy needs a little extra support, but when we read together, he is so sweet, kind, and funny. Him and I are really good friends. As you can see, all these actions make us feel safer and happier and teaches us the meaning of tolerance, kindness, and inclusion. Now here's the first grade cheer team.
All right.
No place for hate. No place for hate. That's what makes EBS great. Start with hello when a friend you see. Kind and friendly evening. My name is Zaina, and I'm at 5th grade at EBS Elementary School. At EBS, we have started No Place for Hate. No Place for Hate has taught us to be tolerant, and we also learned the importance of tolerance. Tolerance is the key to friendship and peace. If people may talk too much or kind of annoy you, you need to be tolerant to maintain friendships and make friends, not enemies. We learned that to always make friends, you should never ever discriminate someone for their gender, color, culture, religion, or just the way they look. We learned to be kind to everyone, no matter what race they are. We learned the keys to friendship and other important things. I made a lot of new friends during the week we did No Place for Hate. It felt so good as everyone did good things for others, and I learned a lot of names of people that I didn't know, even though they were in the same grade as me. During the week, I noticed many people who sit alone, and I immediately went over and invited them to sit with me. They were happy, but most of all, I was really happy. I learned a lot about people who I didn't know really well, and some people I didn't even know at all. I learned the importance of being kind, and now if I see someone who's alone, I call them over. I know it's never nice to be alone. We should always include others and never exclude anyone. No Place for Hate has taught us to be the nicest and kindest we can be to everyone. You should always forgive and move forward, no matter what someone says to you. If someone else is doing the wrong thing and being mean, we should always do the right thing by being nice. Bullying is one of the main things we learn never to do. Bullying hurts two people, the person who is getting bullied and the person who is the bully. The bully is hurting themselves when they bully. Bullies are alone and no one likes them. So we learn the nicer you are, the more friends you will have. Bragging is off the list too. Sometimes to people we don't like, we brag. We don't notice, but it really hurts others' feelings. We now know that it can really hurt others, that nobody is higher than the rest, no matter what others brag. Gossiping. Everybody loves that. It's fun and interesting, but it's also hurtful. It's just lies and rumors made with no evidence. We were taught never to do gossip because sooner or later the person it's about is going to hear about it, and they won't be happy. They'll be the exact opposite. They'll be really hurt, and soon they will start spreading gossip to others just like the way they were hurt. We now know to never let others get the best of us, and to always be the kindest we can be, to always help others. And if someone is mean to you, you have to shower them with kindness. So No Place for Hate has really helped and taught us the importance of tolerance and friendship and caring about others' feelings. Thank you for listening to my speech, and here's to conclude is Kaden.
Hi, my name is Kaden and I'm in 4th grade. Thank you for listening to our presentation today. When you came in today, we gave you a copy of the No Place for Hate promise. Please sign this promise and put it up on your refrigerator so that you can be reminded every day to be kind and treat everyone with respect. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Miss Love.
There we go, perfect. Now we can see everybody. Can you squeeze forward? Great. All right. A little bit more this way. A little bit more this way. Perfectly. All right, now can everybody see your child? All right. On the count of 3, let's smile. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, E.B. Scripps. You set a very good example for all of us. Thank you very much. Okay, very good. This is a new year, so this is a great presentation to start off the year. No Place for Hate. It's a real call for all of us to practice civility as we speak here on the dais, as public members come up to speak, to keep in mind what the kids have said about no place for hate and being tolerant of other points of views and opinions and other types of people. So we will now move on with the agenda. First of all, Ms. Green, are there any reportable actions from the closed session?
No.
No, there are not. And Superintendent Martin, are there any administrative assignments?
Nope, no administrative assignments.
Okay, not for this week. And at this point, I'd like to ask the ASB representatives to please come forward to the staff positions here so we can see you better, and you can just stay there until we have some staff people come up. And let them come up there if we need to do that at a point later on, but we want to be able to see right now. We have two people with us today, and I'll try to pronounce your names correctly. Amalie Resendez, who is the ASB president of Kearney High School, and Joseph Kaluzi, okay, the ASB president of Mount Everest Academy. Okay, let's start with Amelie. You're going to tell us a little bit about your school and what's going on academically and socially.
Good evening, Superintendent Martin, members of the board, district employees, and guests. My name is Emily Resendez, and I am the student body president at Kearney High School for the 2019 and 2020 school year. Kearney High is a Title I school that is distinct because of its small school structure. Each small school that composes Kearney High focuses on different disciplines, including engineering, science, and multimedia. Every school ensures that students, by their senior year, are able to succeed in the real world. At the School of Engineering, Innovation, and Design, students create inventions and architectural structures to serve and benefit the community of Linda Vista. Our students at the Biomedical Science and Technology School discuss their experiences as interns at Rady's Children's Hospital. And then at the Digital Media School, which I go to, we have presentations about expected school-wide learning results, which include critical thinking, innovative thinking, the production process, civic engagement, and college career readiness. During my own defense, which was yesterday actually, I reflected on my experience over the past 4 years at Kearney High School. Being at a project-based school, I have always felt like my work had a greater purpose, with projects concerning food insecurity, ocean acidification, the power of civic engagement as seen through volunteerism, and promoting senior internships for future classes. Students at Kearney feel like they are making their mark on the world even before graduating. As a member of ASB for 3 years, I've had the privilege of being involved with many social and service events as that ASB has provided for students. Beyond hosting successful dances, pep rallies, and game days, ASB has also partnered with organizations such as the San Diego Blood Bank, San Diego Food Bank, Pennies for Patients, the San Diego Police Department as well, who we partnered with to donate toys to families in need over the holiday vacation. As president of Kearney High, one thing I wanted to focus on this year was to change Kearney High culture and improve the student relationship with our school. So in order to ensure that these visions align with both administration and the student body, I took the initiative to schedule bi-monthly meetings with our president, Anna Diaz-Booz. Taking this initiative has resulted in more successful events and has fostered growth and understanding between both the students and administrators. The focus at Kearney is on the whole student. We treat our diverse campus as one of our biggest strengths, and ASB's promotion of clubs on campus allows students to find their support system. Thanks to the incredible connections that I have made with my peers and teachers, I can honestly say that Kearney ensures students mature into young adults who are ready and prepared to succeed in college and beyond. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joseph, and I'm the ASB president at Mount Everest Academy. As you might know, we are a K-12 and independent study school, which basically means that students have less class time and can focus more on extracurricular interests. Because of this, we attract many talented performers, athletes, and people involved in STEM, all of whom are able to pursue their passion because of our free and flexible schedule. That's actually our school's motto: pursue your passion. There's a lot of good things to be said about Mount Everest Academy. We have an excellent staff. Our teachers are very understanding, knowledgeable, and are able to give more attention to each individual student. Our test scores and college readiness are among the highest in the district. In fact, many students, including myself, use the freedom MEA offers to take various courses in college. There are truly unique opportunities at MEA. We have a recording studio, a growing garden program, and a theater group which had over 40 students ages 5 to 18 perform in last year's production. However, pursuing your passion comes with certain disadvantages. Because our students spend very limited time at school, and more importantly because MEA is so small, it's very difficult to organize anything on campus. Events, clubs, and fundraisers are infrequent and are far less impressive than at other schools. We have a very disconnected student body. Everyone jokes about how the school has no social life, and I personally know several people who have left the school because of it. These problems are what inspired me to become ASB president, and the ASB has worked to overcome them throughout the year. And I think we have made progress. In the ASB itself, everyone is now involved in a committee, and our meetings now always have some sort of bonding activity. Last month, for the first time in our school's history, we announced ASB Students of the Month and publicly gave them prizes. We have improved on advertising, organized successful events like a movie night and fall festival, and students now enjoy frequent spirit weeks. I admit that we haven't solved the problem, but we're moving towards it. And I want to express gratitude to the Board of Education for supporting atypical schools like Mount Everest Academy. You give students with various, often difficult circumstances a choice. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much to both of you. Are you both graduating this year?
Yes.
So, I mean, it's pretty impressive tonight that we've seen from first grade to 12th grade what is being produced in the schools across this district. And I would encourage our communications office to really excuse me, to take these clips of these students talking about No Place for Hate and our two ASB presidents to really give such a strong message about the really positive things that are going on in our schools, and for the two of you particularly, that you are identifying problems in your schools and actively working to solve them. It's very impressive, and I think all of the students here have set an example for all of us here on the dais and everybody in the audience to follow your great example. So thank you very much.
One question, John.
Yes, one question.
What is your passion? What is your interest? What are you pursuing?
As a future career?
Passion. You talked about passion. Follow your passion.
Throughout high school, I have been pursuing music, but I'm planning to major in environmental science after taking environmental science class in MEA. Yeah. But I don't know for sure. Yeah.
She wants to answer your team.
Yes, Amelie also. Yeah.
As for me, I come from a single mother who has immigrated from Mexico to the United States for her children to improve our future, and I've seen all the legal issues that surround immigration policy and stuff like that. And so from a young age, I knew that I wanted to go into immigration policy and change the law, change the world that I live in. So I've applied to universities and with the major of political science. So hopefully I can get into policy or something in legislation so I can make sure that I make the change that I wanted to see since I was a little girl.
Wow, you're going to do... I would say you're going to do great things, but you are already doing really great things. Okay, at this point, Superintendent Martin, the information reports.
Thank you, President Evans. Coming up very shortly is going to be when we celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, and we don't have a board meeting before that happens, so I wanted to speak on reflecting on his legacy and the importance of the civil rights movement to all Americans. And I want to talk about another hero of the civil rights movement, Congressman John Lewis. Congressman Lewis has been a friend to our students here in San Diego and to our community. We've come to know him beyond the march, beyond what we read in history, beyond his actions, his march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, beyond his work to pass the Voting Rights Act. Congressman Lewis has also taken time to personally visit with our students here in San Diego and contribute to their education. And several of us on the dais were at Morse High School when Congressman Lewis came and spoke about his graphic novel series called March. And it's this graphic novel that speaks of and teaches about the civil rights movement. The part that I found most interesting was his true faith and belief in our youth today. You two just demonstrated that so beautifully. When he was here, he spoke with our students about his own history as a young person at a troubled time in our nation's history. Not everyone remembers the fact that John Lewis was the youngest speaker at the March on Washington, but what I can promise you, none of the students who spoke with Congressman Lewis this day at Morse will ever forget that experience. So at 79, Congressman Lewis was recently diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. So as we come together to observe the MLK holiday this weekend, I just simply want to ask everyone to keep Congressman Lewis in their thoughts and renew our commitment to keep working until true freedom comes, until the revolution of 1776 is complete. In honor of him tonight.
Thank you very much. And I actually remember a few years ago, one of our middle school teachers was teaching about John Lewis, and they had a video conference with him at their school, too. So he's really reached out to San Diego. Okay, now let's move on to board information reports, starting with Trustee Beiser.
Yeah, thank you, President Evans. I just returned yesterday from spending Christmas with my family in Sydney, Australia, where they're undergoing some fires that have been raging since July. And just to kind of put it into perspective, on an airplane flight from Sydney in the south all the way up to Cairns in the north, it was all that you could see out of the left side of the plane was a fire from one end of the continent continuing on to the north end of the continent. We talk about what a travesty fires in the Amazon are. In the Amazon, 3,500 square miles have been burned. About 3,000 square miles in the Amazon rainforest have been burned. In Australia this year alone, 24,000 square miles have been burned. That makes me pause a great deal. And when I was visiting with a lot of folks in Australia, in Cairns up in the north, they told me last year that they had reached the highest temperature ever, and that on that day, the native fruit bats that have lived there for hundreds of thousands of years, all of them just died and dropped one day. A lot of people think that Australia is the canary in the coal mine with our planet. And I certainly hope that this serves as a little bit more of a wake-up call, so that while we think locally, what can we do? I hope that every day we will continue to try to do better. After visiting Australia, I visited New Zealand, which is fascinating because 100% of their power comes from geothermal, hydroelectric, or wind. They don't use any fossil fuels to generate power in that country. So that's, I thought, was kind of an interesting thing to realize, that I know that in this school district we're trying to do better by being more environmentally conscious and aware and do everything we can. And I know that we're going to be bringing forward more initiatives in the future as how we as a school district can try to mitigate our carbon footprint. But I think that we don't have a lot of time, and we've got to have more of a sense of urgency with this matter. Thanks.
Trustee Whitehouse-Payne.
Thank you, Dr. Evans. I would like to say that last night we had Lincoln Cluster meeting, and it's good dialogue and discussion about things that we should be doing as a cluster. I really wanted to take a moment to talk about on Saturday, and I know that I saw Cynthia Gilliam here, Sierra. We had an MLK march in the community, in the local community, and I want to thank Dr. McCrary for riding in the car with me. We were ready to walk a mile, and they insisted that we ride in the car. I think they have pictures of that up now. This was primarily for schools, and it was an opportunity for our schools to show off their whatever they've been doing, marching, and I think we have just a snippet of a clip of Lincoln's marching band there, and Hoover also came, so just a little bit. We'd like to see it grow, more schools get involved, and I'll let you listen to just a little bit of it. First time doing this, but next year I hope we will have more schools participating, because everybody should participate in something related to the MLK weekend. If you can't go to the parade downtown, we have the local one. We have the Knox Parade coming up on Friday from Knox School. We have a lot of breakfast meetings. On Friday morning, the Jackie Robinson Y is having this breakfast meeting from 6:30 till 8:30 in the morning down at the Town and Country. We have the UAMIC breakfast, all people's breakfast, etc. Find something and participate in it to show your respect for him and for our looking out at the broader picture. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Patterson.
Well, I just want to say that I think it's so inspiring to hear both of you. I think about when you, Dr. Evans, you first visited that class, I believe it was in 2009, and you began the idea of Vision 2020. And I think about, well, here we are today. It's now the first meeting of 2020. We are at Vision 2020, and it's a pretty amazing thing to think about. I always like to ask myself the question, and I ask this to other students who are juniors who are in the class of 2020, or seniors now, do you feel you have been prepared by the district to meet that mission statement there, to graduate with the skills, motivation, curiosity, and resilience to succeed? And overwhelmingly, it's really made me happy to hear that I do hear yes. I hear that students feel equipped with what they need, and even if I hear no, I hear evidence why. I hear why they feel this way, their ability to speak up for what they believe in. And there's really nothing more that I could ask for as somebody who's representing students to see. Students that are willing to enunciate their opinions, that are willing to speak out on behalf of what they believe in. And I did find that interesting. I was looking over the California Healthy Kids survey, and I found that about an average of 29% of students in our school district felt meaningfully connected in their education. And it hurt me to see that, but it was interesting to see these two different narratives that I see. I see you guys up here who are so clearly connected in your education, and then I see the other side of that. And I think as we move into 2020, it's so important that we evaluate how we're doing, and especially looking at that specifically and seeing, are we meeting our mission statements? Are students feeling empowered to make change in the future? Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. McQuarrie.
Sure. Sort of continuing with that message of working together to achieve our goals, and I want to continue the kindness message that was so well articulated by our students from EB Scripps. I have 3 items that highlight recent school events that demonstrate a supportive climate that make our schools a more welcoming and safe place for all students. First of all, I want to do a quick shout out to Cholas Mead Principal Krista Hunter Clark and Ben & Jerry's from Ben & Jerry Ice Cream, who selected Cholas Mead Elementary School for their once-a-year day of service, where they arrive with 400 volunteers or people from all over the country and some other countries around the world to be here in San Diego, to be at Cholas Mead in order to plant school gardens and beautify the campus. Incredible. Additionally, I want to shout out to Stacy Sider and the Students Equity Coalition, the Student Equity Ambassadors that we met yesterday to discuss how the community can come together to work together to expand our goals and objectives to better prepare students for college, careers, and civic engagement. Continuing with this effort for people helping other people, I want to finally just show a video that highlights the San Diego High School and Morris High School students who are coming together for the Unity Games that enable our students with special needs to participate in cross-district athletic events that enrich their school experience and expand an inclusive educational environment. If we could play that video, that'd be great.
And on Friday, it was San Diego traveling east to Morris for the premier game of the Unified Basketball Program, part of the Special Olympics in the San Diego Unified School District. It was led by Fabian Dearday, the adaptive physical education teacher for Morris, as they pair special needs students with general education peers in an adaptive PE class to create an inclusive environment. In the class, students follow specific rules to play together and get the full experience of a basketball game. In Friday's matchup, the Tigers defeated the Cavers 34-23. A rematch is scheduled for February with plans to bring the unified sports program to all San Diego Unified School District high schools.
Morris High School is actually the first high school in San Diego Unified to have a unified physical education class. So that class is made up with 25 special needs students and 25 general education students. They're partners, they work together, they do the full curriculum together, and from there we're able to have our unified team. It's a nationwide activity, and not just with athletics, but in academics, in drama class, and everything. We're trying to make education more inclusive for all students. They learn compassion. They learn that, we're all a little bit different, and we can all work together. And it's not about disabilities; it's about their abilities. I think everyone in the gym was feeling the love today.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Barrera.
Thank you, President Evans. I just want to thank the County Board of Supervisors that this afternoon passed a ban on flavored vaping products and vaping devices in the unincorporated areas of San Diego County. Absolutely. And we hope that the leadership that the county board showed today will encourage other municipal governments, including the city of San Diego, to take up similar bans. We've seen city of El Cajon, and I think Coronado and Del Mar have also banned flavored vaping and vaping devices. And we announced earlier this week that we have filed a lawsuit. Our district has filed a lawsuit against the Juul Corporation. It's very obvious that vaping companies are designing products and designing marketing strategies in a predatory way that's clearly attempting to force our young people into a lifetime of addiction, which makes them lifetime customers of these products. And we've seen a dramatic increase in the use of vaping among our own students, self-reported over the last year. In fact, a larger increase in students using vaping products than we've year over year than we've ever seen of any other substance, including nicotine, tobacco, alcohol, and other forms of drugs. So there's a crisis that is created by predatory vaping companies attempting to come after the health and future of our students. We and other districts are filing lawsuits to try to put a stop to it, but the best way to put a stop to it is with the work that we saw from the County Board of Supervisors today, which is to simply eliminate those products from our community. So we thank them for their leadership.
Thank you. And Trustee Patterson mentioned about the fact that we're starting the year 2020 and talking about the students who reported what was going well and what wasn't going well. We certainly have accomplished a lot through Vision 2020, but one thing we have not accomplished is restoring California to its previous greatness as a funder of public education. And so we see, once again, we are just facing a new budget from the governor, and each year we've seen small incremental increases, and we really have to recognize the fact that this path is not sustainable. And so I'm really committed to us in the year 2020 to really be committed to bringing the message very clearly to our local community, to all of the other districts in the state, and to the state government that we are committed to public education and that we are willing to find the means to pay for it for our society. So I look forward to working with you, all of you on this in the coming year. Okay, we're now going to move to...
Yes, you have a speaker on D5.
The speaker on D5.
Citizen, and I also did not see you signed up for D1. I think we were past it. Okay.
It's okay.
Okay, so we have a speaker on board information reports, and as the first speaker of the year, I'm going to encourage all of us who come to speak, just as our students did, with no place for hate and a matter of civil and polite conversation.
I object to these board reports. They should be following the Brown Act, and you should agendize these items instead of using this time. It's already 10 minutes to 6. This meeting's been going on for 50 minutes, and really you've accomplished nothing at all. So let's go back to the way the school board used to operate, and let's eliminate these board reports. I didn't hear anything in any of the statements by any people up on the dais that really justified the use of time and the overtime that you're paying for employees for you guys to make your little reports. Put it on your Facebooks, and I think that would be appropriate.
Okay, so we have public comment exercising our First Amendment rights. We will continue on with the meeting. We're going to move on to student instructional matters now. And the first item is the Title I eligibility ranking for Sandy Unified School District for the year 2020-2021. This is the first reading. We do this every year in terms of how we are apportioning the Title I funds for our high poverty schools. Superintendent Martin, could you introduce this item?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Evans. This is following the same methodology that we've used in previous years around the allocation of the Title I funds. It's the eligibility ranking for our schools, so we've attached in Exhibit A what the proposed rankings would be, and this is, as per our usual procedure, has been discussed at the District Advisory Council meeting. The process and the ranking, we discussed it on October 16th, November 20th, and December 18th, and the vote was taken at the December meeting to approve the report as presented, and now we're bringing it before you this evening, following the same methodology of allocation that we've followed in previous years and the same dollar amount. That's the total amount that's allocated. We also use the same theory of action that if a school has fallen below the 40% threshold from last year, we recommend that they would be grandfathered in for 1 year. There were 7 schools that fell below that threshold, and we're recommending they be grandfathered in, and there were 4 schools whose percentage rose above the 40% threshold. So, of course, we're adding them to the list this year, and the names of the schools are all listed in the board item.
Is there a motion on this item?
First reading?
Excuse me. Well, who's going to make a motion in the next meeting? Okay. Okay, that's just a first reading. Okay. So are there any, just wait here a second. Ms. Stoltz, are there any speakers on this item?
No, not on this item, thank you.
Okay, there are no speakers on this item, so this is a chance for people to review it, and we will be voting on this item at the next board meeting. Any board member comments? Yes.
Yeah, just very quickly, I appreciate the formula that the superintendent is bringing forward. And as we know, this has been an issue that in the past has been a divisive issue on this board, and is one of those issues that sometimes pits the interests of higher poverty schools against the interests of schools that certainly have poverty but have a little bit less of it. And I think what we've been able to achieve in this board over a number of years is a compromise that doesn't meet everybody's ideal goals, but that does meet the needs of our students, and that combined with our supplemental funding, which we're about to take action on next, I think has been a healthy way to bring people together and to focus on what Dr. Evans just talked about, which is we're making it work in our district, but there's not nearly enough money for Title I for the needs of all of our students. And as we have talked about in the past, we do see some proposals coming forward from some of the presidential candidates which are acknowledging that the federal government has failed in its responsibility to fully fund special ed and to fully fund Title I. And we're hopeful that in the discussion that we see over the course of this year, the 2020 year, that the issues of the federal government meeting its responsibility to public education will rise and will be part of what what voters think about when they're going to the polls.
Okay.
One quick question. Did we get a lot more participation, or are we on the pathway of getting more participation from our schools, representatives from schools?
At the DAC meeting for the vote?
Yes.
I don't have the numbers off the top of my head. Tom or Debbie, do you have that?
It's going up, the attendance. We've had quorum consistently where that's been a problem in the past.
Okay, good.
It's getting better.
It's getting better. We want all schools represented, and I understand now that you're doing training for each school individually.
Going to them, customized support and training.
Yes.
One of the things I learned, go ahead.
Sorry, was that a question?
I was just saying that I understand that individual site trainings are occurring so that parents will know what their rights are and what their involvement should be.
We've been offering lots of training. We saw that that wasn't working, and so the DAC actually, in conjunction with some in the district, decided to change that method a little bit. And as the DAC chairs last month, or the last meeting that we had, they gave their report, we are scheduling and going out to each school's SSC meeting and doing the training as part of their actual meeting. So we're agendizing 45 minutes per meeting. Some of those have already occurred, so we're already making progress, and the others are scheduled and will happen over time. So instead of having people come to us, we're actually going to them. So it should make an impact.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Liberto. One of the things I was going to say is that one of the things I learned the first year we were voting on this is that Title I funds are really for school-wide programs at high poverty schools. Now, we even have an apportionment that says so much per student, but it's very different than special ed where the money is following the student. It's actually recognizing the fact that the schools that have the highest concentration of poverty have very, very special needs, and so that's why we have come up with this particular formula. Okay, that was the first reading, and on the second item, it's actually an action item, and this is the supplemental funding of Title I.
I'll move item E2.
Okay, moved and seconded. Superintendent, could you explain this one, please?
Yeah, thank you, President Evans. So this is the supplemental Title I funding, and this is the second year that we'll be doing this, and this again was discussed at the December 18th DAC meeting. Like I said, it's the second year that we've done it. We are recommending that we continue to do this practice. The number of students that we're qualifying in the areas that we identified has changed, so this funding is based on students who qualify as meal eligible, English learner, chronically absent, low-performing African American, or students receiving mental health resources. the number of students that fall in those 5 categories from last year, our first year doing this, to this year has increased. So the per student allocation was $100 per student in each of those categories, or per category per student. It's gone down to $95 per student because the number in those categories, like I said, has increased. So the overall allocation continues to be what it was last year. We're taking $8.2 million of the district Title I funds and putting them into the supplemental funds, sending them out to the schools. And this is another example of where as a district, are chronically absent students that receive, for example, if a student is meal eligible, chronically absent, and gets mental health resources, we fund them 3 times. So 95 times 3, we duplicate the unduplicated, like what happens with the LCFF dollars. It's the same theory of action. When we know there's greater need, there needs to be greater support. And this is consistent, this recommendation is consistent with the DAC's support of the Title I ranking report, which was the previous item for information. And the committee has continued to support these supplemental allocations.
Okay, are there any speakers on this item?
Yes, we have 2 speakers on E2, Brad Callahan and Derek Murchison.
Okay, you have 3 minutes each. Go ahead.
So with the supplemental this year, what we did in addition to purchasing News ELA or Newsella, some people call it, it's a rich literature, current events, it adjusts itself into 5 different levels of reading. That was purchased school-wide. We purchased a resource teacher. This teacher is doing exactly what we want. She is working with my ALD 6th grade, in which we're teaching kids how to read. And she has 2 sections of that. She's actually working with another regular teacher in a classroom that's a reduced class size. And then she is teaching our ELD as well, which is fortunate, with an example of having 6 new students from Korea arrive on the day after we got back to work from New Year's. And so her time is basically spent in classrooms with students. We are completely compliant in the 2nd language at a middle school, which is a challenge. And my alarm's going off for myself, I guess. And it's working very well, and you're all welcome to come and see it at any time. Any questions? Thank you. Okay.
Good evening. My name is Derek Murchison, and I'm the proud principal at Zamorano Fine Arts Academy. I'm in favor of releasing these funds to the schools because we worked a few years ago with our area superintendents to develop strategic plans. And with these funds released to the sites, we're able to make those plans come to life. And how we did that at Zamorano, where we served, as of today, 1,011 students, TK through 5th grade, is we were allocated a counselor 3 days a week. But to help our students with their social emotional needs, we were able to fund a counselor another day a week, and this counselor does trainings in the classroom as well as small groups in her office. She helps out with a lot of things that go on the campus to help with our students' social emotional needs. Also, we were able to hire the literacy resource teacher, who is our county teacher of the year, so we're very proud of that. And she's able to do push-in and pull-out support to help with our students, specifically with our English language learners, our students with disabilities, African American students, Latino students. There's a great impact on students there. And finally, we're able to work with our VAPA department to bring PLCs to our schools on a more regular basis. That's once a month. Our teachers by grade level are able to meet, to look at data, to adjust their instruction to meet our students' needs. So we were able to do a lot and directly impact our students. So I'm very hopeful that this will continue to happen this school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you. And it's great to hear from both principals the concrete things that are being done with these funds. Are there any comments from board members? Trustee Whiters-Payne.
I would just like to say this is something that is near and dear to me. And in my previous life, I was a resource teacher once in the Title I program for a short time. And it's much more complicated now in the sense that we have a lot more different categories that we're addressing. And that was a part of the discussion that we had last night at the Lincoln Cluster on the fact that a lot of the schools are experiencing the same problems across the grade levels. One family would have one child at Knox, one at Lincoln, and one at Porter. and you've got 3 different principals trying to work with the same family. And so we were talking about how can we bring this all together so that we can reduce the amount of time that the principals would have to spend on individual cases like that. In fact, one principal said, when I went to the home to see about my child, I saw some of the others, and I said, Lincoln needs you, you need to go to school. So, I mean, it's that kind of thing of working together to meet the needs, because from my perspective, it's a larger issue than the school system. We need the support from all the social agencies, the city, the county. We need all of them involved in helping us to educate our children and offer that support that they need. So thank you, this is good.
Other comments?
Also, in my prior life, I was a Title I resource teacher. I also was a district manager of programs that managed Title I programs. And then when I went to work for the county schools office, I oversaw all the school districts that had Title I money. So, and it's more than just allocating money. It's more than dollars and cents. It's more importantly, it's how we use that money and how we account for it, and it's the importance of the evaluation and assessing the impact. So hopefully, as we allocate these funds, we need an accountability system that shows the benefit that our students are achieving as a result of these supplemental funding. So the intent is to not only allocate, but to implement effective programs, and then to monitor and evaluate the effectiveness of those programs.
I'm curious if any of our student board members, if, you know, I mean, I'm not sure how aware you are at your level in terms of the funding, but whether you know of programs at your school or things are happening specifically that are related to Title I. I mean, it all ends up being blended together as far as the general fund and Title I, but I don't know if you know of anything particularly that's happening at your school with Title I? No? Okay. Okay.
I can't think. I know my school we actually just joined the list this year, University City High School, so we just made that 42% threshold, so we'll be receiving those additional funds for the first time this year. So I'd be happy to report back to you.
Good.
A little bit of time to see what that ends up being, since I think it's a really important role on my part to be able to express what happens at the campus level and provide my personal experiences to you. But I would really also want to add on what on what Trustee McQuarrie said in the importance of having accountability on it. I could not agree more that it's so important that we ensure that these funds go to the right places and go to the students that really need these funds in order to be successful. I think it's so important that we have all 5 of these categories and that we're using this idea of duplicating the funds based off of these specific issues, because we know that a student that falls in one of these categories, if they also fall in another, that one amount of money is not going to solve both issues. And being able to direct more resources to them allows us to be more successful as a Board of Education in implementing and helping implement the programs at the school level that we want to see happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I think this supplemental funding program, I mean, there's 2 things to it. One is we're going beyond what is required by the law in terms of the priority of this district to get the funds equitably distributed to the schools and the students who most need it. And then the other thing is really the whole school-based decision-making and the local control in terms of the schools deciding this is the resource teacher we need, or this is the program that we need. This rather than having some cookie-cutter thing from district office about this is what we're going to give to each school in Title I. I think that's a really important element to this. I think has been very successful since we started it. So if there are no further comments, please vote on this item. And how did our student representative vote?
Student board member votes yes.
Okay, and along with the other 5 board members voting yes. Okay, so that passes the supplemental funding for next year.
I'll move item E3, the proposed 2020 summer school program and extended year.
Okay, Superintendent Martin, could you comment on this one, please?
Thank you, President Evans. This is moving forward with our plans for summer school for 2020 and the ESY program, and making sure that we're ahead of the game in terms of staffing, being able to make sure the program's offered to general ed students grades 9 through 12 for credit recovery, which would be DNF makeups in the core subjects, and then a 6-week program to be offered at about, we're estimating 9 high schools that will be located district-wide for grades 9 through 12. And historical data shows that approximately 5,000 students receive F grades in core subjects in the first semester, which renders them eligible for this program, and the dates of the program are listed in here, and the proposed schools, we're working around the construction schedules at different schools, so this is getting the information out sooner rather than later about where we're planning to hold the summer schools this summer.
Okay, Ms. Stoltz, are there any speakers on this item? No public speakers on this item. Any comments from board members? Dr. Whiters-Payne.
Thank you, President Evans. I just want to throw something out because it's a little bit troubling. Some of our schools, some of our middle schools and elementary schools are struggling with students needing that additional support. I mean, they qualify in several of these categories for the monies during the year. And I know now, because we're short in funds, that our summer school is limited to high schools. But I would hope that we would begin to think about ways that we can look at support for those students who are struggling. I mean, for example, if we know students are behind leaving elementary school and we expect them to perform at middle school and then we expect them to perform at high school, if we're not offering something to bridge them or support them to help them to get where they need to go, it's disconcerting.
And catch up.
Yes, because if a student is 3 grades behind, 2, whatever it is, and we're just sending them right on, and we know already that they're behind, and they're not going to catch it up in a year's time or just in regular school year, during the year. I'm really finding that disturbing, so we need to start thinking about how we can find some monies or do something to help those students also.
And I agree 100% with Trustee Whiters-Payne's remarks. And this is why Title I money at the federal level has got to change, because as this board has consistently taken the Title I money from the federal government and given it to the school sites to spend as they see fit, then they can use the Title I money for bridge programs or supplemental programs to help their students during breaks or after school, before school, Saturday school, to help those students to succeed in grade school and middle school so that they're better prepared in high school. And so, I agree with Trustee Whiters-Payne wholeheartedly. We've got to do something there. And that's, I think, an ongoing challenge with funding. But I absolutely support this action item E3, because at this point in time, we need to make sure that we're supporting those high school students that are to get them back on track to graduate from high school.
Yeah, to add on to what you say and add a little bit of a personal experience to it, I have a very strong recollection of my 2nd grade teacher describing right at the beginning of school, you have a road to success and a road to failure. And in 2nd grade, even at the primary grades, she explained how in order for you to be successful when you get into 6th, 7th, 8th, high school, and eventually in your choice of career, you need to be able to have this foundation. You need to be able to understand what we're teaching you in the class so you can be successful as you move forward. And if you're not able to retain that, then it's going to be significantly more difficult for you to move forward. I think about a student actually in my class that year that ended up choosing to repeat the grade. And they chose to repeat the grade because they mutually found that it would be more beneficial for the student to repeat it and to retain that information and ensure that they're better prepared to move forward rather than continue on at a disadvantage. I also know members of my own family that have done that and been very successful because they've chosen to do that. But I definitely think about how it's just so important that you get that base foundation, and not providing the resources to be successful and not providing elementary and middle school students the opportunity to have additional support definitely puts them at a disadvantage as we move forward.
Yeah, and I think this issue is linked to an issue that the superintendent has brought forward to us many times, and that's grading practices. So if we have 5,000 students that received failing grades in this last semester, I don't know what that number looks like in comparison to past years, but think of if we could get to a place where rather than letting those students fail in their first semester, we were actually getting those students to a point that they could pass those classes, and then maybe some of those resources that we're spending now could then extend to helping elementary and middle school kids who need more preparation. So the two issues are linked, and it would be interesting, Superintendent, at some point to get some data about how our number of failing grades this first semester of this year compared to prior years. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'm sure the consensus with what Trustee Whitehurst-Payne was saying, the consensus of this board would be to provide summer school to all students who need it. And as Trustee Beiser was pointing out, this is related to the limitations of Title I funding, so we end up doing things that are sort of on an ad hoc emergency basis to keep people afloat rather than what we know would really work in the long run, as Trustee Barrera was pointing out. Okay, so let's please vote on this item. Trustee Patterson?
Student board member votes yes.
Okay, board member yes, student, and 5 board members to 0. It passes. I'd like now to hear a motion on items F1 through F3. We have the other two.
So moved.
Okay. Moved and seconded on F1, F2, and F3, the minutes, the scheduled meetings, and the McGill School of Success charter renewal. Any comments? Okay, please vote on those 3. And so that, as I said, includes the approval of the renewal of the charter petition for McGill School of Success. Very quietly and patiently waiting, and it went very fast without any controversy, because we know what a good job the McGill School of Success has been doing since it started, beginning with the leadership of Reverend George Walker Smith. And now, moving on to item F4, resolution support of the San Diego Mayor's Monarch Pledge. Trustee Patterson.
I move item F4, resolution in support of the San Diego Mayor's Monarch Pledge.
And I second.
Okay, moved by Trustee Patterson and seconded by Trustee McQuarrie. Could you, Trustee Patterson, could you explain to us a little bit about this resolution?
Definitely. So the idea behind it is San Diego has joined the pledge to become what we're calling a monarch butterfly sanctuary. Is that correct? I get that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And what this means essentially is as monarch butterflies make their migration up the coast, they need places to rest along the way. They need places to rehabilitate as they continue their journey in their natural migration. The lack of milkweed, a common plant that they're usually living in and staying in, is often, there's a lack of it across the coast. So what we're working on and what we've partnered with, if this passes with the City of San Diego, is helping ensure that we can plant more milkweed and provide a better environment for monarch butterflies as they make their journey.
Okay. Are there any speakers on this item?
Yes, we have 3 speakers on this item. Ann Baldridge, Jordan Bean, and Michael Goodbody.
Okay, you have 3 minutes each, up to 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Ann Baldridge. I'm the Community Programs Director at the Resource Conservation District of Greater San Diego County. At the RCD, we work to restore and protect the county's watersheds, reduce wildfire hazards, and support community wildfire safety issues, and promote nutrition and stewardship through sustainable agriculture. We're also a member of the San Diego Pollinator Alliance, a group of agencies and organizations working together to increase native pollinator habitat and raise awareness about pollinator-friendly practices throughout San Diego County. Our members include the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Butterfly Farms, the San Diego chapter of the California Native Plant Society, Sky Mountain Permaculture, and the Natural Resources Conservation Service. We were encouraged to see the mayor commit to protecting the iconic monarch butterfly by signing the Mayor's Monarch Pledge, and it's exciting that San Diego Unified School District is on board. Efforts to support the monarch will have a positive impact on other pollinators too, many of which, like the monarch, are in decline. We would like to see an increase in native pollinator habitat for monarchs and other pollinators using native plants throughout the county, and schools provide an ideal landscape. Pollinator gardens not only offer the food, shelter, and breeding habitat that pollinators need to survive, but they can also serve as outdoor classrooms, inspire stewardship among our youth, and add beauty to school grounds. Both the RCD and the Pollinator Alliance support planting pollinator gardens at schools. We have provided pollinator plants and seeds, and more recently we've helped Lafayette Elementary and Scripps Ranch High install native pollinator gardens. In addition to providing learning opportunities for students, we hope that these gardens can inspire families to take action at home too. We can all take simple steps to support pollinators. To help monarchs, it is crucial to plant milkweed, the monarch's host plant. Without milkweed, we'd have no monarchs. We especially encourage the planting of native milkweed like narrowleaf milkweed. Pollinators like bees and butterflies also need flowering plants for nectar, their key food source. Selecting native plants that blossom at different times of the year will help provide a continuous source of nectar. It's great news that San Diego Unified School District is so supportive of pollinator efforts and supporting and being on board with this Mayor's Monarch Pledge, and please do let us know if there's anything we can do to support you in creating pollinator oases at your schools.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jordan Bean. I'm here on behalf of Councilmember Jennifer Campbell from the City of San Diego. She was really the driving force in getting the City of San Diego to sign the Mayor's Monarch Pledge, and so glad to be working with San Diego Unified. In fact, Dr. McQuarrie was out at the presentation of the actual pledge itself and read some of the student board members, Mr. Patterson's comments, which were delightful and really inspiring. So thank you to both of you for being a part of it and for your support here. This is something that the City of San Diego is very excited about, creating a regional partnership to work on an issue like this. Something so small can lead to something so big. 1 in 3 bites of food that we each eat every day comes from or is created by a pollinator like the monarch butterfly. And as Ann said, we can all do our part, and it's so wonderful to see so many regional leaders being a part of it. San Diego Unified, the City of San Diego Gas and Electric will be increasing the amount of pollinator plants that they put out there, and we will also be working with the San Diego Zoo to really determine where monarchs migrate through the City of San Diego so that we're planting milkweed through the City of San Diego in the right place. In the council member's budgetary priorities, she called on the City of San Diego to really invest in milkweed and other pollinator-friendly plants to put in the massive, we have over 40,000 acres of open space that the City of San Diego is in charge of, and so increasing and adding native milkweed to those locations makes a big difference in the lives of these tiny creatures. Finally, it's so wonderful to see that you are adding it to curriculums. I know that while I am from upstate New York, I still remember 3rd grade and still remember the whole experience of seeing the entire life cycle of the monarch butterfly, and I think that if we are creating little environmentalists today, they will grow up and be environmentalists moving forward. So thank you for all you're doing, and looking forward to helping out any way we can move this very important project forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Superintendent Martin, Board of Education. I'm Michael Gabati, the Program Manager for STEAM Innovation. It's my pleasure to speak to our endorsement of the Mayor's Monarch Pledge. We know that quality science education involves a constant search for engaging local phenomena that we can use to design classroom learning experiences. The elementary STEAM pilot now includes 44 sites and over 300 teachers. Our charge is to design relevant, meaningful experiences that result in deep, lasting learning. We want to spark student curiosity and empower the next generation to enact change in our local and global communities. One of the most powerful aspects of the Next Generation Science Standards is the focus on how human actions impact the environments we live in. Through STEAM, we've seen our youngest learners change the way their sites approach recycling and single-use plastics. We've seen these same students advocate to principals and local officials to promote sustainability and eco-sensitive practices. We often think of human actions as negatively impacting our world. We want students to come to know that they can use their learning to make the world a better place. The plight of the monarch is the perfect opportunity to understand that all animals depend on local natural resources, and that we have an opportunity to ensure the survival of the species through actions we take in our schools and in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all the community members who have spoken up about this, and to Trustee Patterson and McQuarrie for bringing this forward.
Comments?
Yes.
Yeah, so I absolutely endorse and support the monarch butterfly and other pollinator national pledge. Over the last 20 years, the monarch population has fallen by 90%, putting this species in danger of disappearing. I want to thank the superintendent for creating a web page that showed one of our kindergarten, first grade student looking intently at a butterfly on a milkweed plant within their school garden. And the idea is that we do want to encourage the safe spaces for our monarch butterflies and other pollinators and monarch butterflies, especially as they are on their migratory pathway. By signing the Mayor's Monarch Pledge, we are committed to creating habitats for the monarch butterfly and other pollinators, and to educating the citizens and our students on how they can make a difference at home and in their communities. I do have a question. Unlike a rose is a rose, it's my understanding that milkweed is not milkweed. So there are native milkweed, which we want to encourage, and also it's my understanding that the milkweed in some of our nurseries have been raised with herbicides, and if they are, when that butterfly plants its eggs, those eggs will not develop, they will die. So we want to be careful about the milkweed that we are choosing in order to enhance the probability that we will have a successful and safe environment for our monarch butterflies to survive.
Any further comments? Okay, let's vote on this resolution. Trustee Patterson?
The student board member votes yes.
Okay, and that passes 5-0 by the board. And we'll move on to F5, the resolution, the matter of recognizing January 27th, 31st as the Great Kindness Challenge Week in San Diego Unified. Trustee Patterson?
I move item F5, resolution in the matter of recognizing January 27th through 31st, 2020 as Great Kindness Challenge Week in San Diego Unified.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, seconded by Dr. McQuarrie. Are there any public speakers on this item?
Yes, we have one speaker, Cynthia Gilliam, and I believe she has some friends with her.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
Superintendent Martin, board members. It's a great pleasure to be here this evening. I have to be for real, I was a little bit disappointed because these kids were a little lax and they got tired and a little bit upset, but I'm going to go on with it anyway. The Great Kindness Challenge began over 13 years ago, and it was actually formatted after Valencia Park Elementary. And so this evening we would like to do the Peace Pledge, and we also like to honor the board members, and who you are makes a difference. So I'm going to ask our young people to come up here, and I would like for everybody to stand up along with the board and repeat the Peace Pledge after us, please. Could everybody in the room stand up, please?
Hello, my name is Sierra Cloud. I am a senior at E3 Civic High, and I am the Peace Ambassador for Southeast Chapter of Kids for Peace. Please repeat after me. I pledge to use my words
Pledge to use my words
to speak in a kind way.
to speak in a kind way.
I pledge to help others
Pledge to help others
as I go throughout my day.
as I go throughout my day.
I pledge to care for our earth
Pledge to
with my healing heart and hands.
my healing heart and hands.
I pledge to respect people
I pledge to respect people
in each and every land.
in each and every land.
I pledge to join together
I pledge to join together
as we unite the big and small.
as united big and small.
I pledge to do my part
I pledge to do my part
to create peace for one and all.
to create peace for one and all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now I would like to bring Grandma Sparky up. This is our second part. And she is the author of a national book, Who I Am Makes a Difference. And the young people would like to tell every board member that you do make a difference. So they would like to honor you. And I'll let Grandma Sparky speak a little bit about that.
Hi. So I'm pretty pumped, actually, and I want to let you all know that you're extraordinary in everything that you do, and a lot of times you don't hear how great you are, and we're all here to tell you that. So a long time ago, I created a blue ribbon that says, "Who I am makes a difference," and I went up to my kids' teachers and my neighbors, and I told them how magnificent they were, and I cheered them on for their dreams. And I gave them 2 extra ribbons and said, go and honor others. Today, 50 million people around the world have been impacted by this ribbon. It's ended violence in a minute or less, ended bullying in a minute or less, brought people together and made dreams come true. It brought purpose. So I'm going to do the ceremony with you for a moment, and the kids are going to come up. They've only been trained tonight for 5 minutes, so bless their hearts. But I teach this all over the world, so you all listen to this, and then you're going to go up and honor everyone with the blue ribbon, yes? Yes? Smile. They're late. But the blue ribbon says, "Who I am makes a difference," and I'm just looking in your hearts and telling you that you, young people, with your passion and your purpose, are making a huge difference. Every one of you sitting here has done I've been here for 40 years, so I know the difference of what it takes to do your work. And I'd like to know, would you accept this gift from me, this blue ribbon? Yes. Nod and go, "You bet." Say it loud. You bet. Yes. May I have permission to place it on you?
Yes.
It'll go above your heart, pointing up to all your greatest dreams coming true, and that it's tradition for us to take the spark from our heart and put it in the ribbon. It is the sound that makes dreams come true, and the sound is bing. Bing, and it makes you laugh. Okay, so the Bing movement is going global to reach 1 billion people. We're at 50 million around the world in 12 languages. This coming year, it'll be 35 languages, 1 billion people. Everybody's joining on in schools all across San Diego. So go on up there and go up to one of your great people up here and just tell them how magnificent they are and give them a ribbon.
I wish you guys had been here earlier. We could have told the EB Scripps kid that this was the example of people being nice.
Exactly. They've been waiting a long time, and
Thank you, guys.
but you can stand up and you can go up to each one of them. Just select one and just go up to them and just take out that ribbon and honor them.
Hi. What's your name?
John.
Hi, Mr. John. What this ribbon says, "Who I am makes a difference." This is honor to you for your excellence and your leadership on the board.
Thank you.
Can I pin this on you?
Yes, you may.
It goes right above your heart. The ribbon is pointing towards your dreams and to make your dreams come true. I'll give a little sparky heart and go bing.
Thank you very much.
And here's your extra ribbon that you can give to someone else.
Thank you. Very kind. I'm just imagining what he said.
That's so great. Good job. Cynthia wants to take a picture of all this. She's really hoping people go stand for a picture.
Good job, you guys. So now here's the last thing we're going to do. Okay, you ready for this? We met a long time ago. Remember this? We don't give up. Okay, on the count of 3, what you're going to do, hold it up like this, bring it down and go shh, shh. We're creating a musical on Broadway in New York. Musical now, this is an audition. Do this.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much to all of the students for participating. We really appreciate that. And we have kind of bookends to our meeting with the No Place for Hate and the Kindness Pledge all in the same meeting. Yes.
Is that okay? Okay, smile, go ha ha ha.
Ha 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 ha.
Okay, right?
Ha 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 ha. Okay.
Excuse me, can we get a picture of all you guys and the kids, please?
Sure. Bring the kids on up here.
Come on.
Okay, you guys come on up there.
You're important because who you are makes a difference.
That's it, get up there.
No, we can. Let's go around in front.
You want to get in there? Oh, yeah, get in. Get up
I kind of
there.
want their names to be seen. It's just going to be.
You gotta give me a smile, you know what I'm saying here? You all practice before, right? Okay, get over here. Give it a- And go ha 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 like that, go crazy. 1, 2, 3. That's how to do it. You got it? Got it. Okay, perfect. That's how. Woo! Everything's worth waiting for. There we go.
Oh, it says.
Thank you. Good job, Sparky.
We do need,
Okay, thank you very
we
much.
do need to vote on the item.
Okay, we need to vote on the resolution that we just, and let's everybody vote. And Trustee Patterson also voting?
Student board member votes yes.
Okay, that passed unanimously. Congratulations to all of you who came here tonight.
Bing.
Bing. Okay. Okay. Okay, we move on to item G1, public hearing on the initial proposals from San Diego Education Association to bargain successor agreement. Do we have a motion on this?
I move G1.
Okay.
We move G1 and G2.
Okay, let's take these two items together. Do you want to move both, Trustee?
Yeah, I'll
Weiser?
move G1 and G2.
Okay, and seconded by Trustee Barrera. Okay. No comments, no public speakers?
Yes, we actually have 2 public speakers on G2, Keisha Borden and Lindsay Birmingham.
There she is. Okay. Where is that?
Lindsay Birmingham, first grade teacher at E.B. Scripps Elementary and SDA bargaining team chair.
And could you also introduce your partner?
And this is Stryker.
Okay.
It's grown a little bit since last time you saw him. So I'm here tonight to, along with Keisha, to sunshine our bargaining proposal to the San Diego Unified School District. Our goal is to ensure that we negotiate a fair contract that provides our schools and our educators with the supports our students need to succeed. Through this round of bargaining, we have 5 key priorities. First of all, we want to make special education work. As a classroom teacher now back in the classroom, I can tell you right now it's not working. Every day is a struggle as we have positions that are understaffed, unstaffed, and not necessary to meet the needs, let alone the hours of the IEPs our students have. Secondly, we want to get more school counselors and nurses for our schools. Our students are coming in with more and more needs than we've ever seen before. We want them to get the social and emotional support they need before we as classroom teachers can do the academic work that we need to do with our students. We also want to maintain the number of school psychologists that we have. There's antiquated numbers in our district that would in our contract that would never be enough to actually meet the needs of our students. We employ many, many more school psychologists than the contract actually calls for, and we need to remain doing that so again we can continue to meet the needs that our students have. We want to create effective elementary class sizes. We have a current ratio right now of 24:1, but that's an average. We have TK kindergarten classes across the district at 27 and 28 students. We have second and third grade classes at the same amount. The intent of that language was to have classes at 24, and we're starting to use the average language as a way to put more students into those classrooms, and it makes it very, very difficult for us to do the work we need to do with our individual students that come before us. And finally, we want to create a pay and benefits package that's competitive in this era of teacher shortages and ever-increasing costs of living in San Diego. In order to make all this work, we must have an employer, you, that respects our collectively negotiated contract. It's not only my contract as an SDA member and classroom teacher, it's also the district's contract, and you must respect it.
Keisha Borden, President, San Diego Education Association. As Lindsay mentioned, I want to make sure that we are working towards a contract and agreement that supports the needs of our students. Our goal is to engage in productive negotiations that lead us towards that ever-important goal. Along those lines, I do want to sincerely acknowledge the positive tone of the district's initial proposal. My hope is that the district carries that positive spirit into our actual bargaining process. We must also see that spirit of positivity in the implementation of that agreement in the form of respect for our contract. Currently, we have an untenable number of grievances and unfair labor practice charges filed against the district by SDEA. We have to make sure that what we are negotiating and agreeing to is respected by your staff. We also see the district already attempting to skirt some of the responsibilities of the contract changes that we just agreed to in May. If we build a mutually respectful culture, we'll be able to effectively work together in order to win better state funding for special education. We'll be able to promote the Schools and Communities First initiative that we both support and which will bring millions of dollars to our students every year by closing loopholes that benefit big corporations. So the one thing that the district can do is to make sure not to undertake painful and unnecessary layoffs when the state's budgetary situation is good. Layoffs derail our efforts to work together. So again, I'm encouraged by the district's initial proposal and hope we can carry that positive and respectful tone through bargaining and into the implementation of that agreement. Thank you.
Thank you to both of you. Okay, if there are no board member comments or other speakers, please vote on this item. 1 and 2, yes, both items together. Okay, and student board member?
Yeah, bargaining, so I don't know.
Oh, okay, excuse me, my mistake. Okay, that passes 5-0. Okay, we will now move on to the superintendent's consent agenda. We pulled items I-9 and I-10. Trustee Patterson.
I'll move items I-9 and I-10.
Okay, both items are moved. Is there a second? Second. And they're seconded by Trustee Barrera. Comments?
Yeah, I will I plan to abstain on this, obviously, since it's a closed session matter, and as I don't have any impact in what is actually said, I don't see a purpose for me to vote, as I don't have accountability towards it.
Okay.
I actually would like to comment on it.
Okay.
I think it's, when you pulled these two items, I thought, okay, let me go and look at the items and try to see if I can understand, why would a student board representative want to draw attention to these two items on the superintendent's consent agenda? And the two items are, one, expulsions, students being kicked out of the school district. And the other item are readmits, students that were going through a process or a program to improve, to receive support, so that they could come back into the school and get back on track to improve and be successful contributing students. And so I really appreciate the fact that even though this is a closed session agenda item, even though the public, when they look at this, they don't get to see the details or any of that, I think it's still important that we continue to focus on how do we continue to support students so that we don't have to expel them, and then how do we do a better job of continuing to support students that do fall into that suspended expulsion category, so that we can get them back in and readmit them back into the school district. So I really appreciate you pulling these items, and I know that we are going to continue to focus on these as a district. Thank you.
Okay, and one of the issues is obviously the confidentiality of the students involved is not published here, but at the same time, Superintendent, we do have statistics on constant ongoing about suspensions and expulsions and all of the data that are surrounding that, right? Trustee Whitehurst-Payne.
I understand that we will be doing a workshop soon on this to address these concerns, and so hopefully some radical things will come out of it.
Yeah, we
Looking
are
forward to
working
it.
as a team through our instructional cabinet and leadership team on revisiting all of our protocols related to suspension, expulsions, and the reentry process, and plan to engage the board in the conversations that we're holding with our leadership team to then engage the board in what our revision of the protocols will be.
Okay. No further comments. Please vote on these two items together. Okay, and that passes 5-0.
The student board member abstains on both.
And student board member abstained, exactly. Now we're moving to the non-agenda public testimony. First of all, do we have any non-agenda public speakers?
Yes, we have one speaker, citizen.
Okay, so let me explain on our non-agenda. You have 3 minutes to address the board. If there's some, we will not engage in dialogue on any item that is not already on the agenda, and we can refer the matter to the superintendent for review or investigation if necessary. Okay, so we have one speaker. Go ahead.
So I listened to Richard Barrera lament the cost of living in the city of San Diego and how difficult it is for families. But at the same time, this school board is responsible for increasing the cost of living, specifically the cost of housing, more than any other government entity. Here are 30 bond payments that taxpayers have to make in the city of San Diego for San Diego Unified. And I'm looking at the sign, it's up on the back, and it says you're spending $1.2 million of taxpayer money every day for facilities. So you need to add that to the amount of money that you tell the public is being spent on average per student. But let me start with some of the bonds that are listed. San Diego Unified Bond, Proposition MM, November 1998. Unified Bond, San Diego Unified, November 4th, 2008. One's for $50, one's for $62, one's for another $50, one's for $76, another one is for $54. So just this tax bill alone is adding over $1,000 a year higher on the property taxes for a family. So if you're trying to buy a home, you have to calculate $100 or more to your payment that you got to come up with, and that's really tough in San Diego. If you're a renter, the same thing happens. Commercial property owners have to pay taxes as well, and that's translated into increasing rents. So when people are looking at their property taxes, and this school district's saying that they want more money, I beg to differ. You guys are getting $1.2 million a day from taxpayers alone, in addition to what you're getting from the state, which is what I just sent you guys, all of you, which is about, it works out to be about $18,000 a student right now. And it hasn't been going up a little bit, like Richard Barrera will tell you. It's been going up millions. And let me tell you, the number of students are dropping by thousands. The students are dropping, and you guys are getting more money. So with the 2 math teachers we've got up on this school board, and I'm trying to figure that out, why do you have a $70 million deficit?
Okay, that concludes our public testimony, and so at this point we are going to adjourn the meeting, and the next regular meeting will be on January 28th, 2020.